Very good afternoon, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us this afternoon for this beautiful session on why sustainability and how it matters to you. In today's corporate world, sustainability is very important to improve the quality of our lives, protect our ecosystems, and preserve natural resources for future generations. We have Meena Murugappan with us today to take us through this journey. She has over 20 years of international and local experience in architectural design, real estate development, and business design and operations across South Asia and the Middle East. Meena is passionate about collaborating with co-dreamers, designing and building with co-creators, and working towards mainstreaming unique first-to-market eco communities. She is a practicing architect with a bachelor's in architecture from the School of Planning and Architecture, Chennai, and a master's in real estate development from MIT Boston. A warm welcome to you, ma'am, and thank you
Hi.
so much for joining us this afternoon. And over to you, ma'am.
Hi, everyone. I'm happy to be here. In fact, all of us from Team Organo at School are here. So I'm Meena Murugappan. I'm Director for OES, and I have with me my colleague, Srinath, who is GM for Organo at School, and our two young colleagues, Shushmita and Nagavamsi, who work with programs and communications. Thank you so much, Shiva and Venkatesh, for organizing this webinar. We're quite happy to share what we've learned over the last, 2 decades of working towards sustainability, and especially in the last 10 years as our parent company Organo, as well as Organo at School, which is the educational initiative by Organo. So this is what you're going to learn today is part of our cross-industry learning series. So where we talk about sustainability to people across different domains, so that collectively we can all become future forward, that we are technology enabled. At the same time, we are earth friendly and people focused. So in that topic, so we'll go through a few key iterations, and we'll also talk about how, from one industry or one journey, you can actually embed all these principles of earth friendly living into your business as well as into your lives. So let's get started. Okay. Yes. So today we'll be covering why of sustainability and how it matters to you. And a warm welcome to all of Ethica's clients and customers, as well as some of our own friends from Organo who are joining in on this webinar. So this is going to be our primary question. Is climate crisis, is it real first? And is it to you very real? Because this is a question that we've been pondering over in the early parts of our journey as an organization, as well as individuals. Because where is it and how can we feel it? Like, there is so much chatter about it, but what does it really mean in our day-to-day life? We see it in news, we see it in graphs and charts, we talk about polar bears, we talk about melting glaciers, but these are all really far and distant things. We only have knowledge about this, things that are thrown to us. And what is being told to us, there are very specific things, like we know very clearly that, our population is booming. Over the last, 100 years, we've increased our population multi times. We are now about 8 billion people. And by 2050, we're going to be 9.2 billion people, which is a lot of people with the same amount of resources. And the Earth, this graph, for instance, is a very critical graph. It's based on our individual consumption patterns in each country. We can see that if we need to continue to consume the same way, be it food, resources, natural resources, for different countries, it's almost like we need multiple Earths. For instance, there's 5.5 Earths required for US, Denmark is at 4.2, Indonesia at 1. So as you can see, with our existing resource availability within our planet, how much can we consume and how much can we share? Because it's not just the human species that we should share this earth with. We have a lot of biodiverse species, flora and fauna, that we need to share our resources with. So from afar, what we hear is, okay, the glaciers are melting, there are forest fires, there's deforestation happening, there are unexpected floods. We hear all of these, and of course, the voice and the most significant thing that we keep hearing is global climate crisis is inevitable, unprecedented, and irreversible. Now, those are very strong, big words, and that can seem a little overwhelming. And from near, right, that is like a global perspective. But if you look at a very local perspective, our cities are getting crowded, our landfills are getting bigger, we are having unusual, illnesses. And cities and the way our water is behaving or energy is being consumed within our cities is changing. If you look at this, this is from 1687 to 2010. This is the growth of Hyderabad over 300 years. But this is very important to see. The city has almost doubled in 20 years from 1990 to 2010. Which means the number of people who live here have increased, the amount of land we are using has increased, amount of resources we are taking is increasing. The more we populate, the more we are displacing other species as well. But more importantly, we are also, as urban families, we are modeling a certain way, a certain behavior that is becoming an aspirational model for others. Like, for instance, we, like, with more wealth, we consume more, we waste some more. We're not our behaviors within urban India, especially, are becoming more and more consumption based. And we are creating models of aspiration for our rural families, rural brothers and sisters, to kind of move into the city and replicate the car, replicate the gadgets, replicate our lifestyles. So while, all of us are aspiring to be rich, what the wealthy or the comfortable, let me not call them wealthy, what the comfortable are doing is creating benchmarks for success and a growth paradigm that are based on specifically high consumption patterns. So what do I mean by that? How many cars we have in a house, the size of the home that we live in, the kind of clothes we wear, or the type, or how often we change our clothes, how we shop, how we eat, how we waste. All of it is becoming something that is a very consumption pattern of success. But is that climate responsibility? So this was another question we kept asking, is what is climate responsibility? Like, there's so much resource scarcity, and then there are these consumption patterns that are looking very different and unusual over the last, few decades. What should our collective climate responsibility be? So here what we started seeing is, let's just look at the word responsibility, irrespective of climate impact or climate action. It's the ability to respond. I think we should look at it a little more deeply and say, if we say it is an ability to respond to different changes, to different climate behaviors, then it changes us. It helps us to see what is right now, something that we can do. And another thing we don't want to do is, we don't want to wait for external things to happen. Sometimes when the problem or the scale of our climate crisis is so big that it's easy to just step back and say, the government should do this, or COP28 should do this, and corporates should adopt green practices. Yes, all of that should happen. But at the same time, that should not be the reason for us to wait and not change, look at our own habits and behaviors. So we should start responding, to what is happening to us in our immediate neighborhoods, within our own homes, our schools, our workplaces. So we should look at what's happening to you, to me, to us. And then collectively, many things can start to change. This is something that we truly believe at Organo at school. That collectively, when we do certain things, that we can impact change. That climate crisis is not irreversible, that it is not so overwhelming, that yes, it is big and it needs to be dealt with, but it can be dealt with systematically, consistently, and across generations. So the first thing to relook at is actually about consumption. Consumption of power, consumption of water, consumption of food, consumption of land, consumption of resources. So how do you look at it less? First, at our own personal level, within ourselves. What do we do? How do we use our time, money, resources, effort? And then at family level, and then at neighborhood level, and of course, within our workspaces. So what sustainability fundamentally then becomes, it becomes about mindset change. That we look at ourselves and our consumption very consciously. And we believe that is ultimate climate action. You know, that at a fundamental level, we say, okay, all right, there is a way we can live in this earth. You know, we all have, say, you know, with God's blessings, 85, 90 years, hopefully. And in that lifetime, what we do and how we live and what we leave behind should be something that is useful, service focused, and of course, you know, the least amount of carbon footprint. So if we start at mindset, then irrespective of industry, we can actually bring in sustainability. So if you're in insurance, if you're in software development, anything, any field right now, you would have been hearing this word sustainability, green, eco-friendly, earth-friendly, primarily because these are not optional action items. These are very important, required everyday behaviors. And we're only going to hear more and more. And in fact, from business success to, to our own personal health and well-being, adopting a lot of, earth-friendly practices is actually something that is going to be important, critical, and has to be integrated into our lifestyle. Sorry. So our belief is, let's start from bottoms up, which is, all of us with our everyday jobs and our everyday priorities, while others do top down, which is at policy level, government level, and in industry level. So when we say top down, bottoms up, what do we say? Okay, lifestyle for environment, a healthy, sustainable way of living, and values of conservation and moderation. That should be a mass movement. That should be a collective, like how, any big transitional moment in history, if you look, it is, while there might be one or two leaders who stand as an example for it, but it is the collective desire for change, the collective desire for entire populations to want something better that has actually transitioned or moved history towards progress. So this is something that we specifically talk about when it comes to sustainability. For instance, we say it's very important for demand minimization in everything we do. So what is demand minimization? These two words, if you've heard sustainability enough in the last 10 years, you're going to be hearing demand minimization even more in the next 10. Demand minimization is first, okay, let me give you an example. Clean energy generation, power generation, right? Solar power generation. So that's a great thing. You have to, if we can, and if we can implement solar power generations within our communities, cities, and states, that's great, right? Because it's clean energy. But before that, one step before that is actually to reduce the amount of power we actually need to generate, right? And how do we do that? First, we look at our households and our offices. Do we need, like, how much power does each household use? Can we be optimal in that? How much power does our offices use? Can we be optimal in that? So if we look at power demand reduction, first from user behavior, second from appliances and installations, and then we say, okay, I'm doing clean energy production, that is great, because you've reduced demand and you're only producing that much power that is really required. The same thing can be said for water. The same thing can be said for food. The same thing that can be said for shopping. First is demand minimization. One example we keep using often within our teams is that, when we were growing up, Yeah, minimal living was not a, it was very common,
Yes,
right?
absolutely.
How often did our parents buy clothes for us in a year?
Maybe once.
Yeah,
In festive season.
festive season. So it was festive seasons, it was school day,
Okay, that's it.
yeah, and then a birthday, right? So there were 3 shopping cycles, 3 shopping moments in a year. But right now, with so much convenience, we've actually become quite indulgent in the way we shop. Any day you can buy a shoe, any day, yeah, online, and comes packaged, and it's exactly what you want. But the ease of getting what we want sometimes makes us question if that is what we really need.
Packaging which comes with the
Exactly. So this demand minimization, if we look at it from how we consume from our own time to what we consume our time, demand minimization is very important even when time consumption, because we sit and consume, like do scroll far more than we produce. So this is something that if within our respective industries, so if you're a doctor, where is it that you can implement this? If you're healthcare provider, where can you implement this? If you're it's anybody, like if you're a teacher, where can you implement this, right? From everything, if we start looking at it, demand minimization within our domains is actually a much needed climate action. So that brings us to the most important thing, and this is a quote that we also truly believe, right? The right thing to do is to do the right thing at all costs. Because sometimes it's very easy to say implementing eco-friendly or earth-friendly habits within our lifestyle is a little extra effort, or it's a little expensive, or it is, it's what is the point of only one person doing it anyways? It's a small dent in a very big problem.
how is it affecting me?
How is it affecting me? That's another question. But the thing is, it's very important. If it's not affecting you in this generation, it's affecting somebody else in the next generation, and definitely somebody else in 2 generations away. So the right thing to do, and the thing that we can do within our lifetime, we should do. And we should do it at whatever cost. If it means reducing the number of times we press, online purchase buttons, if it means we turn off the switches every time we leave, if it means, buying earth-friendly clothes or buying less of them, if it means all of that, we have to do it. It is not an optional thing. And I don't think we should, sometimes we confuse convenience to comfort, and I think it's important for us, especially when people who are looking to adopt a little bit more earth-friendly lifestyles, that minor adjustments in lifestyle are actually worth all the effort. So that brings us to us. Why did we go from doing architecture to becoming change makers? So it's important, like the reason why we talk about sustainability across industries is because we ourselves have moved, we thought we were growing within our industry, but very quickly we started realizing we were moving across industries. We were going into agriculture, we were going into animal husbandry, we were going into education, and product innovation and Farmer Connect. There were so many things that we had to do because we truly believe that for families have to live in eco habitats and that they should focus on their health and well-being. And we truly believe eco communities where the focus is on the health and well-being, not just of the residents and the immediate neighbors in the villages, but also flora and fauna are important. So I'm just going to quickly touch on to our journey and then come back to what you can do and adopt within your own lifestyles. And the reason why I'm doing that is because I know many of you in the audience, you're all from different backgrounds. Maybe this roadmap kind of trigger thought within your own industries on how you can become, where you can grow, and what you can do. Very ambitiously, we call our companies, of course, Organo Eco Habitats, and we believe, in creating life on a slow track. I think a lot of us have been running for a long time, and it's not light-hearted. Can I have some water? Sorry, just give me a second, please. Thank you. Architecting the future of humanities, because Organo, as architects, our intent is to create models of human habitats that cater to a wide range of families, and also ensure that we're not just focusing on the well-being of those respective families, but that of the planet as well. So we have, few things that we actually started with projects, then we, started creating these products, which are eco communities. And we were driven by passion, and eventually what it led to was to, actually serve a much larger purpose. So I'm going to talk about why purpose is important if you're going to become, if you're going to look at sustainability within your respective domains. Our purpose is to co-create eco-habitats that celebrate living. And what that means is, when we say co-creating, we're actually specifically saying we all walk together using empathy with all stakeholders of that habitat to achieve samavriddhi, which is holistic, inclusive growth for all. And when we say we walk together, we're talking about an entire collective of people, not just within our organization, but early believers of our eco-habitats, our consultants, our stakeholders, include not just the people who are part of that journey, but also the flora and local fauna. And of course, our biggest driver is empathy. I think that is very fundamental for a very purpose-driven organization to have. And it's not just a word for as a USB, but actually it's a culture. It's a way of seeing the world. It's a way of being. And of course, all of this is to achieve samavriddhi, where it's holistic, inclusive growth for everybody. And the second is, what do we mean by eco-habitats? That means there are ecosystems in place, and that are mutually beneficial relationships are established between people, between groups, between flora and fauna and humans, where there is room for the soul to thrive, and where we are clearly aware that the earth is the wealth, that what is truly real wealth is actually earth. And of course, celebrate. What do we mean by celebrate? To participate joyfully in life, where living is as natural as breathing, where indulging in everyday activities is effortless. And of course, contentment, experiencing contentment is a normal. Like that for us is celebration, that you're content throughout the day and you're like, okay, I live well, my home is right, my community is good, I'm amongst good people, I'm taking care of the planet, I'm contributing to society. That contentment becomes an everyday thing. It is not something that is a goal that you achieve, but it's an everyday experience for you. And of course, what do we mean when we say living? We say the act of deeply and completely being present in a soulful existence. Now, for an architecture firm to kind of evolve into a development firm, we actually had to go through this entire experience of understanding why is it that we exist and what is it that we are going to do for the rest of our lives. So for us, we are nature. And when I say we, it's all of us, all of us, we are nature and nature is us. So there is no, I will protect nature, I will save nature. Actually, we are nature. We should just, be very soulful and very mindful of our consumption of and sharing with nature. Nature, she, has a great way of normalizing things. So if we are a nuisance species, she'll get rid of us. But if we can walk along with nature, I think we have a great symbiotic relationship we can establish. And having a purpose-driven company also means that we have to be there are some values you'll have to embody. So within your own organization, there are some values that I'm sure you're all, kind of working towards. So here's what we are looking at. And this, again, has to line up with your larger, professional or personal goal. We are simple. We are collaborative. Thank you. We take ownership, we persevere, and we are empathic. So we call it, the acronym for that is, of course, COPE. And in many ways, the, what do you call it? The inspiration of this also comes from nature. Nature is in many ways very simple. It's as an, like a larger entity is very collaborative between plants and fungus and air and sky and water. There's just so much interrelationships and all towards the success of that particular ecosystem. And of course, there's complete ownership. And there is no defeat. There the perseverance is endless. You see an ant, it's like completely inspiring. From every bird and everything, there's just complete and consistent perseverance. And of course, there is true empathy. I think nature has complete empathy, and you see every element of every local flora, fauna, you will see demonstration of what true empathy is. So for us, Organo is not just a business. We truly believe we have a real responsibility towards our collective future and, all our children. So we don't just build homes. We don't develop farm homes alone. We're not doing development. We're not doing real estate truly. What we are doing is creating this collective eco habitats where people can contribute, thrive. So, and we also realized, like we can't wait for the world to line up before we fix it. So we said, okay, if we don't fix it, who else will? So let's get started. And any business, this is something I'm going to talking to people who are looking at businesses as well, or who are business leaders. You have to be a triple bottom line business moving forward. I think every organization is moving towards that. You have to look at people, planet, and then profits. It is not anymore a world, and the next generation of consumers are not looking at just planet. They are going to be people who are going to ask questions of what is your people impact? What is your planet impact? And yes, are you financially sustainable? So I think we are moving into that world, which is great. We're very hopeful. In fact, we are very, very optimistic. We are not pessimistic about the problem of climate crisis, primarily because we are looking at multiple younger people, younger generations who are asking the right questions about, impact. And this is now to the people who are looking at innovation, because as an organization, it's great to have aspirational ideas and goals, but it's actually very specific. One is culture and the other side is product innovation. So within our company, we look at incremental to system innovation. So if I were to give you an example of what is incremental innovation, we can just look at car as an example. Incremental innovation is when you have better tires, you have greener fuels, things like that. Disruptive innovation is like an EV, electric vehicle, which is powered by solar. But systems innovation is when you do walkable cities, where you actually remove the need for cars. So within your industry, if you actually start looking at what is your product and what is the innovation you're doing, can it move towards systems innovation? I think that will be something that will then give you a really good head start, and also within your own job. It need not necessarily be at industry level or business level, but even within your own jobs and how your teams function, maybe this is something that you can look at. So for us, we started with looking within our own communities, like organic farming, fresh air, water conservation, soil regeneration, eco-friendly homes, net zero energy, and community building. But where we started doing really significant impact and what that led to in terms of systems innovation is biodiversity, outreach increased, we reduced rural urban migration, we became a net positive community. There was skill development and upskilling, water management within the community and outside as well, increased local job opportunities. And of course, we started allied businesses like Organo at School, Slow Down Place, Organo Facility Management, and of course, Organo Farm Stores. So these are all allied businesses. So when I said, when you do systems innovation, you might have, and especially when you're earth focused and purpose driven, you might start expanding beyond your comfort zone, and you will have to thrive and, kind of grow that, because those are when you are actually making holistic integrated solutions. So for us, we've used this framework. Different organizations have different things, but for us, Saptapatha, which is the 7 strands of sustainability, is the framework we use, which includes food, water, air, earth, energy, shelter, and people. So we measure our performance of our eco communities through these. So that brings us to the most important thing. Sustainability has to be all inclusive and does not end within our project boundaries or our neighborhoods. It has to be a long-term, ongoing, intergenerational journey. For us, what that meant is we actually started looking at health and well-being of residents, away from city environments. We said, what if we actually offer full-time neighborhoods for residents where, they have urban conveniences, but with rural experiences. And we're also moving. So that brings us to Tesla, where we imagine, the next generation of neighborhoods to be like, or next generation of homes to be like. It should be like a plug and play. The ecosystem is set. You don't have to adopt different behaviors to become an earth-friendly person, or to adopt an eco-friendly lifestyle. It should be as simple as just walking into your house and everything is already pre-organized, pre-arranged for you, that there are no roadblocks for you to adopt eco-friendly lifestyle. We are now 5 communities, in progress. One, of course, Organo Nandi is already handed over, which is our first eco community, which is a World Green Building Council award-winning project. Our second community has also been handed over, which is Organo Urban Nest in Nizamabad. If you notice, all of them are collective farming communities with afforestation. Then we have Organo Antaram. We push the boundary further. We are now making car-free communities. So you park further and then you actually walk to your home. So we are reducing the dependency on vehicles. We are stopping to design for wheels, and we're actually starting to design for feet. So within our industry, we have been able to push this. And what has been phenomenal for us has been the buy-in from the residents. People are loving the fact that they will have a walkable community, that they will not have to, drive their car all the way. And then, everything, you're worried whether when your children are playing on the streets or your parents are walking down the street, you're not worried about, safety and driving. Of course, on our drawing boards and recently launched are our subsequent projects, which are Organo Kandavada, Organo Damarigidda, and of course, Urban Lofts. All of these eco communities are all counter-urbanized. They're all 60 minutes outside Hyderabad and have been like a deep welcome from a lot of Hyderabad families. So as architects, like I said, we moved into harvesting, beekeeping, construction, solar, upskilling. So it's been an interesting journey. And it all started with the mindset. And that is truly what we believe is the ultimate climate action. So my question to all of you today is, how many of you are ready to start the journey towards a more earth-friendly living? Venkatesh, any questions?
Yeah, thank you so much, ma'am, for showing the wonderful presentation. And before we move to the Q&A section, I would like to take this opportunity to launch a feedback poll. Where this feedback poll will help us to understand how the audience like the session, and also it will help us to curate many more interesting sessions like this.
Sure.
So when the feedback poll runs, so if anybody wants to ask any question directly, you can raise your hands or you can put your questions in the chat box. That questions will be directly answered by MEENA ma'am.
Sure.
We look forward, ma'am.
I'll also, I have a couple of asks for all the audience. So while they're doing the feedback post and asking the Q&A. So the ask one is, at a personal level, can we imagine moving from a consumer mindset to a producer mindset? So what does that mean? Can we produce food and then consume it within our own homes, in our balconies or in our backyards? Can we at least grow leafies? So you're not buying that from the supermarket, right? Those are simple tasks. Kitchen gardens and balcony gardens are the simple things that you can start with. Second, can we look at producing energy and then consuming it? In what way? Many of us, some of us may be able to install solar power generation in our homes. Some of us may not be. In that case, can we look at something as simple as even your Toran lights for festivals? Can they be solar powered Toran lights, right? Your decorative lighting. And then you use that to decorate your home. But look at energy a lot more specifically within your context. Second, of course, conserve water and then consume it, at a home level. Can we minimize shopping and then recycle and reuse? Can we look towards producing fresh air and then consuming it? And within our own neighborhoods or within our own homes, can we look at growing plants and trees that actually clear the air for us, that actually work harder than us, than our air purifiers do? And finally, of course, can we empower immediate family and friends towards earth-friendly living and then collectively thrive together? So at a personal level, our ask is this, that you look at everything that you're doing from a producer mindset before you adopt consumption, and becoming a conscious prosumer of resources. So when we say prosumer, we say that, somebody who produces and then consumes. So producer, consumer of resources. This is our first ask.
Ma'am, we have a raised hand.
Sure.
So
how do I?
Naga Praveen, if you can hear me, you can unmute yourself and you can ask your question. We have Jugesh Bansal. If you can hear me, please unmute yourself and you can ask your question now.
Yeah, good afternoon, Meena ma'am.
Hi, Jugesh.
Hi. My question is, I thought actually when I means this session sustainability, maybe it will talk more about scope 1, scope 2, and scope 3 emissions. But the way you presented was extremely well. It is like general presentation, and really appreciate like the way you took it thoroughly. So
Thank
just
you.
wanted to understand, like as an individual and working professional, how means we can contribute to the environment in a better way. I
Absolutely.
understand that you have some points, like means you mentioned ask one, how we can shift to means maybe solar energy, or how we can conserve our demand and all. So maybe is it possible from your network or some kind of recommendation, how best we can support to climate change without as a common man, I'm asking,
Correct.
not like means for businessman or working professional it is very easy. They may
Correct.
contribute in different level, like I'm a maintenance manager. So last year we have already completed solar project, and I can say proudly now Sartorius is 100% on green energy,
Oh,
like
excellent.
50% on solar and 50% whatever we are importing from Bescom is green energy. But
Excellent.
at individual level, when it comes to personal aspect, that time it is very difficult for us to produce energy, or
Correct.
means produce any fresh air, because we don't have those technology or investment. So how an individual can contribute to this level? One thing you mentioned is demand optimization, but how other, like how, what are the other I mean to say, is there is any network, or maybe we can plants
Yes.
and all? Is there is any other way, like you can suggest for an individual
Absolutely.
family, or like that?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I mean, like I said, the first thing, let's just take a simple home, right? At a very fundamental level, we can produce some level of food in your balcony, in your garden. Some like what we've been like, we run experiential learning workshops where we actually, through actions, we actually recommend what are the things we can adopt, and we coach families and individuals on what are the things that they can adopt within their home, within the constraints of their home also. Sometimes, like waste management, let me give you an example. Some communities are very diligent, and some neighborhoods are very diligent in adopting those practices, but some places it's not. Right. In that case, we say, okay, if your community, you're not doing waste management at home, can you do waste segregation? Can you compost wet waste into soil for your balcony plants? And can you make sure that your dry waste and digital waste reach the recyclers? Right? These are three simple actions that you can do when it comes to waste. The same way with water. It's the same way with energy. Energy, of course, is difficult. So in energy, if it's not, like, for instance, a clean energy producing community, or it's not an eco community, let's assume, then energy, we look at them, we ask people to relook at their appliances. First, how many appliances do you really need at home? How often do you use them? And second is, how often do you run them? Can you be more optimized in your use of your energy? Third is, whatever are like these decorative lightings, or things like that, can you actually consider solar powered ones instead of battery powered ones, or instead of something that plugs into your regular power supply? Right. So there are We do have literature in our website. I would highly recommend. We have an e-library where we've given recommendations and checklists on how you can actually adopt some of this. Another very good resource, of course, is UN Sustainable Development Goals. I think there is one we document which we will probably upload on our website and share the link over here. I mean, to Ethika team, they will share it to all of you, where there are 101 actions we can do within our home. That will actually help. It's very simple actions which you can have a large impact on the environment.
Very simple. So
Yeah.
if you ask me the first one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you ask me, the easiest thing to do is to not carry plastic, rather carry bags with you. If shopkeeper asks you, gives you a plastic bag, just say no. Okay. The moment you start saying no, and even if the stuff is a little heavy, learn to carry it and put it in your car or in your scooter. Okay.
Understood.
Moment you start doing it, I think you have started making the impact.
Well noted, sir. Understood.
Thank you very much, Yogesh. I hope
So,
we
thank
answered
you.
your question.
Yeah. Thanks a lot for this session and also your views on sustainability. Definitely in our regular practice, we will follow it. Thanks a lot.
Oh, thank you. And please do share how you've been able to implement it in your, lifestyle or within your workspaces. We'd love to hear from you all.
Definitely. Do we have any committee in LinkedIn or any other platform where, means like today I have attended the session and I got motivated, but to maintain that rhythm throughout, period of time. So we need network where we can, share good
Sure.
practices. So is it
Sure.
okay to ask you, like, do you have any platform where
Yes,
we can also
we
join?
are on LinkedIn. We are Organo at School. We are on LinkedIn. We have our YouTube channel. We have Instagram, as well as we have our own website. It's
Okay.
organoatschool.co.in. Yes. So yes, we'll share you the details as well.
Sure. Thanks a lot.
Okay. Thank you.
The details have been shared by Mr. Shivasharan in the chat box, ma'am. So we'll wait for a couple
I
of...
have a second and a third ask. Can I jump into that, or do people have questions?
Yes, ma'am, you can continue.
Okay, all right. So I'll just quickly share this. So I'm talking on behalf of Organo at School because we've been very successful in rolling out experiential learning programs, especially when it comes to sustainability in Hyderabad. And we've been scaling up this effort across corporates, communities, and we have our own farm campus. And recently we got recognized by UNESCO for our work. So, which has been a big motivator and also shows us the responsibility we have. So for participants who are in this, conversation today, we want to ask one small thing. We want you to allow Organo at School to come to your workplaces with our experts, and through small, in simple measures, help your entire team become more earth friendly. So we want to we want your permission to help us invade your mental space and then create these earth friendly habits. So this is our second ask. And of course, may I know if there are parents in the group, with the young children or teenagers? Yeah, I think, yeah, there are quite a few. So another thing we have is Organo at School, where we, especially if you're Hyderabad based, we invite all children to participate in our farm campus programs. It's a phenomenal way to learn about safe food systems and natural farming, and actually empower them to know how to choose food, how to choose where the source of how to understand food sources, and of course, build a deeper connection with food, soil, and weather. So our three asks: one is at your personal level, what can you do? Of course, become a prosumer. Our second ask, allow us to come to your workspaces. And of course, our third ask is, bring your children to Organo at School. It's not a school as such. It's basically a farm campus where we teach about safe food systems, natural farming, and of course, other aspects of sustainability. Any questions?
Great. Thank you so much for your presentation and sharing your experience and the things that you are doing for the sustainable living. I think we all should adopt these small things in our daily lives, and we have to follow it. to have a sustainable living and also to have a healthy lifestyle and also to promote a good next generation. The upcoming generation also will have the good at what we are going to give now. We'll wait for a couple of minutes. We'll
Sure.
wait for some of them to come out with the questions.
Sure.
And
Meanwhile, if we can, like, maybe we can all share some 1 or 2 initiatives that we've ourselves adopted in our lifestyle, right? There are some changes that we've made within our lifestyles when we become more this one. So,
I've given my
yeah,
example.
you want to talk? Yeah.
So I follow. So in our house, actually, it was not me, but my daughter. I keep telling Meena, it's my daughter, elder daughter, who started this no plastic in the house. So the moment I used to get plastic bag in my house, she used to fine me 100 rupees. And that's how I got rid of my habit, right? And she's just what she's not 18 now. She started when she was only 12. So yeah, so I mean, small things can really make a difference, and it coming from youngsters, it even more is impactful.
I try to save water as much as possible and also electricity. If I'm not in that room, I will definitely switch off my fan lights, and I'll consume very less water. And the water which I use to soak my rice and dal, that water I never throw it. I have made it a practice from last 1 year. I always keep in a jar, and then I will use it to in my plants. And in that way, the plants also get nutrients, and also my waters also is not get like nutrients. Yes. Thank you.
I have made one decision in my life that I will use more public transport than private transport to reduce my carbon footprint. That I have taken the decision after coming to Volcano.
Wow. That's amazing. Yeah, that's one easy and strong way to actually reduce our carbon footprint. Yes, actually, carpooling, taking public transportation, anything, cycling to work, anything that is possible within your environment and within your neighborhood, I think has actually anything related to transport has very large carbon footprint impact. So
Even EV in the longer run is actually not.
yeah, unless it's powered by solar. Yeah.
Solar, yes.
Yeah, true, true. Yes, I think Jugesh has another question. Go ahead, Jugesh.
just a moment.
Oh, okay, okay. All right, all right. Yeah, Vignesh has, yeah, go ahead.
It's audible, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, during the presentation, Meena, you have mentioned business should be based on triple bottom line,
Correct.
people, planet. Is it profit or prosperity?
It should be prosperity. But profit, because it's an easier word to use, and I mean, financial sustainability is as important. I'm not going to any business. Yeah, I'm not going to discard that at all. It has to any good idea. Yeah, should be financially sustainable. So it is profits, and I think that is good business sense. When you do people and planet, automatically it becomes prosperity. So in some of my previous presentations, I've actually said people, planet, and prosperity, and so. So we do believe when you do look at
Understood.
financial, sustainability, but through the lens of people and planet, it becomes shared prosperity.
Understood. And also, I just want to understand, as your organization Organo is into
Yeah.
sustainability business. So whether you are helping other organization to be environmental friendly and more sustainable in terms of their operation. Like I
Yes.
mean to say, whether you are doing some kind of sustainability audit or some kind of recommendation on their processes. Like right now we are capturing our scope 1, scope 2, scope 3 emission, but still we need a few ideas and suggestions how we can convert our utilities or machineries into more sustainable base. So those things also we are providing.
Yeah. Where do you work, Jugesh? Can I know which organization you work for?
I'm working in Sartorius, Bangalore.
Satori. Okay, all right. So basically, yes, we do offer as Organo at school, because I'll tell you, Organo, the parent company, anyways, like we become like fairly strong leaders in sustainable business, sustainable communities and developments. So whatever learning we had in-house, we didn't want to just keep it within ourselves. So Organo at School, our educational initiative, actually collaborates with our same set of consultants in-house and both external. And we offer to corporate organizations how to convert their campus into an eco campus, right? Like if you have lawns in your property, right? Maybe you will need a lawn for, some specific area, but not all of it needs to be lawn. A lot of it can be productive landscaping, right? Where it could be mint, pudina, it can be so many other things that still look green and you get something out of it. You can have, instead of regular ornamental trees, you can have fruit bearing trees. So there are strategies and roadmaps where we work with corporate companies and we say, okay, here's an audit of your current status. Here is a roadmap of what you can do. And, year 1, you can do these 10 initiatives. Year 2, you can do these 10 initiatives. By the way, by year 5, you will be a zero waste corporate office, right? Or you will be an eco office. So we do work and provide that service. In fact, this year's big plan is actually to kind of implement that. We've been doing it informally for the last 2 years, but we're going to go big and much more structured this year.
Understood. So we are very much interested in this sustainability initiative, and also we will definitely welcome you if you are, means any plan to come to Bangalore Sartorius.
Yes, sure.
So because we are already working on water conservation, energy conservation, and many other sustainability initiative. So it will be our pleasure to have you in our campus.
Oh, definitely, definitely. In fact, Srinath will be in touch with you regarding this. Do leave us your contact. We'll connect back with you on that.
Sure, definitely. Thanks a lot.
Thanks. And in the yeah, I think if you can just send it to us, it'll be helpful. Yeah, we can put our email ID over here as well. OES at
Ma'am, we have one question from the chat box. Vignesh is asking how RO wastewater can be collected and use it to wash dishes or for water the plants. Ma'am, you are on mute.
hello, is this better?
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Yeah. RO wastewater can be, but it does have very high ppm parts per this one. So it can be a little hard on the plants. So you might have to dilute it before you using it. So recovery of RO wastewater has always been a bit of an issue.
Utensils with that.
Yeah, correct. Wash and then dry your utensils, but watering plants is a little tricky. So, but there is some new filtration systems that are coming up, which are recovering RO wastewater a bit more, but I'm not fully aware of them. I haven't tested them yet.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. And I think with this we came to an end of the webinar. And once again, I thank you, you and your teammates for joining us this evening and taking us through the journey of sustainable living. And thank you so much, ma'am. And we look forward to many more such kind of activities from our Ethica to different clients what we are having.
Sure. Thank you
so much.
Yeah. Next week we are coming with an interesting topic. So that is listen up, harnessing the art of effective listening. So if anyone is interested, catch you next week in our upcoming webinar. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.